I need you to go to my office. You're gonna hack into the mainframe. You're gonna retrieve all the recent shipping manifests. This is a lock chip. This will get you in.
April 2026, Vercel, one of the biggest deployment platforms in the world right now, used by millions of developers, probably including you, got breached. An attacker compromised a third-party AI tool, which was Context.ai, and used it to take over a Vercel employee's Google account. He somehow managed to get into the internal systems and got access to very sensitive data such as environment variables, database credentials, API keys, and etc. etc. So today, I want to show you exactly how these things happens, not theoretically, completely practical. I've intentionally built a vulnerable system, and in this video, we are going to breach it. We are going to steal all the data, and then we are going to do something crazy. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so first let's understand the difference between these two terms real quick, because people use these terms interchangeably and they are not the same, by the way. A security breach is more like a broader term. It means someone gained unauthorized access to a system via bypassing security protocols and all. It could be your server, your network, your employee's account, like what happened to Vercel. Yeah, that was a security breach. And on the other hand, data breach is more like a specific term. Here, in this case, this is the theft. It means sensitive data was actually accessed and stolen by an individual or some group of individuals with unauthorized access. In Vercel case, it was both. Someone breached their security and got access to their data and leaked it. Yeah, that's a data breach. And in this video, we are going to do the both. So what actually happens in a data breach? It means when someone who is not supposed to access your data got access to it. No. More like accesses it forcefully. And see, data breaches can also happen through non-hacking means as well, such as accidentally emailing sensitive files to a wrong person, maybe losing a USB drive with some sensitive information, or even weak password, phishing attacks, misconfigured servers, and etc. etc. And what we're demonstrating today is through a vulnerable piece of code. And let me make this thing clear that not every cyber attack is a data breach. For example, a DDoS attack, I hope you might have heard of this term, that only slows down a website without stealing the data. This is not considered as a data breach. However, a ransomware attack can be considered as a data breach. So in this video, we are going to exactly see how a simple coding mistake could make a system completely vulnerable and could open the doors for the attackers. Alright, so here's what I'm going to build is a simple hospital patient management system with Express and Node.js on the backend, and with a PostgreSQL database hosted on Neon. So feel free to use any tech stack you want, but if you are choosing this one, so I would urge you to create an account on the Neon console. Okay, so just go to neon.com and just create your account, and then in the console.neon.tech, and you can get access to your PostgreSQL database from here. So this hospital patient management system, what we're going to code today, it's going to have on the database, the schema, it is going to have the names, the name of the patients, then the the date of births, then the medical conditions they might have, right? And more sensitive information such as their credit card details, their addresses, and that's it. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to initialize a empty Node.js backend over here. All right. So we have this initDB function. Okay. So what this function will do is every time we run the server, it will first create a patients table if not created yet with all the attributes we have just discussed, and then it is going to fill the database with some dummy data for just our testing purposes. And in the home route, I have just fetched all the records, all the data from the database. As you can see, the query as select asterisk, that means everything, all the record from the patients table, and then I've just rendered all the data in a tabular format in the home route, remember. And then here's the /search route. Here basically we can search the patients by their name and their condition. So this allows us to search through the entire patient data that is present in the database by the patient name and the condition. But the vulnerable line of code here is this, as you can see. You see this? The search query from the user is being directly dropped into the SQL string without any sanitization, without any validation, nothing. Notice how I'm directly concatenating the user input variable directly into the SQL command. And by the way folks, this is called the SQL injection vulnerability. And by the way, you can also check out my video where I've dedicatedly covered about SQL injection and actually injected malicious query into a server. So alright folks, first let's see this much in action. Let me get my database URL from obviously Neon console, paste it over here, and then simply node index.js. The hospital server is running at this 3000 port. Okay, so let's really quickly open it. And guys, yeah, here you can simply see we have a dummy data. Head over to your table section, and then there you can see the patients table where all the records are there. For example, let's change one record, Bob Johnson, to something else, maybe Kevin Hart. Okay, just testing it. Okay, so just let's save the changes, and yeah, here as you refresh, and here we go, we have Kevin Hart here. Let's change some, let's try to delete some records. Okay, so let's delete all these 10 records, and then as we will refresh, we'll be just left with only 3 records. Okay, stop the server, let's run it again, and then basically what this will do is it'll again, first of all, it'll check that whether the patients table is being created or not in the database. If it is, so it will not run the create table command again, but it will definitely add up new dummy data, but also delete the previous ones as well. So as we refresh, like you can see we have new ID numbers over here, and then we have obviously the same old dummy data. Okay, and now we also have this search section over here. We can head over to this, and obviously we can just simply search over here like anything. Okay, maybe say for example, if I hit say for example Jane. So yeah, obviously by the name Jane, there's only one person, and their condition and all. And maybe if I say for example try to search allergy, if I'm not wrong, allergy, if I try to search allergy, so this Ellis Williams, this particular person has this condition, and give some John. So obviously there is a John Doe, and also this Bob Johnson, the John in his name. Okay, and then like this. Okay, so we have all our endpoints working. Okay, but now let's go on and create a attack script. Okay, let's name it as simple breach.py. I'm choosing Python as the language. You can use you can pick and choose any language you want. Alright, so I'm done with coding the attack script over here, and I've kept these emojis intentionally. Trust me, this is not byte coded. So let me explain this real quick. This breach.py is our exploitation script. So it has 2 phases. Phase 1, the data theft. Phase 2, the data destruction. So what's happening is initially, with some fancy, fancy loggings as initiating breach and fancy hacking terms like movies, and some intentional sleep timers, for 2 seconds, 1 second maybe. And remember, the vulnerable route was the /search route, so we are requesting to that URL, and we are sending a crafted payload to the search endpoint. So let me break this down for you real quick, and what this actually is. So basically it breaks out the SQL string and injects this condition. What this condition is, that this is always true. See, 1 equals 1, it's always true, right? So instead of searching for a specific patient, we just told the database that to give us everyone. And as this phase is the data theft, so now we are going to steal/copy the data into our machine. So every patient's name, their credit card details, their addresses, and all those details will be dumped into a CSV file. Okay, in here you will eventually see it. The interesting part of this, the server has no idea that what just happened. No alarm, no alert, nothing. So that was the phase 1, the theft. And now after that we are going to move into the crazy part, that is the data destruction. That is phase 2. Now as you can see, we are sending this again a new SQL command. Basically what is happening over here, I have explained this in a little detail in my SQL injection video, so I would urge you guys to just watch it. Okay, so we are first of all ending the previous query via this first of all the ending string, and then the semicolon over here. Okay, then after that we are writing our own malicious command. It runs the update statement against the entire database. This is overwriting every single record with this text, that is data corrupted. Okay, as you can clearly see, the name will become data corrupted, and obviously you can write anything you want. Okay, anything. So in this case I'm just replacing everything, all the data, with this data corrupted word, as you can see. And here you notice at the last we are giving this 2 hyphens over here. This basically representing the comments in our SQL syntax. This is the comments. So after that, whatever it is, just comment it out. That will be completely ignored by the database. Okay, alright folks, now what? I have the complete data with me. Okay, and second, I have corrupted their data. Okay, the actual data which was in the database, I have completely destroyed it and basically manipulated it. Now it's time to really test this out, and this is going to be crazy. So let me just node index.js, and yeah, as you can see, the server is up and running. Let me just refresh this, and yeah, as you can see, the server is up and running. All the data is being fetched from the database and rendered over here. So now it's time to run our exploitation script. So yeah, simple, just Python, yeah, head over to your file, and then just breach.py, and yeah, the moment of truth, let's run the script. Okay, you can see these are all the stolen data. Yeah, at least 40, like 41, 42, 43, like these, the initial 3 records it displayed in the terminal. And yeah, the CSV file is saved with this name. I can like ls real quick. Okay, and you can clearly see the stolen patient records. The CSV file is over here. Let me open up my VS Code. You can clearly see the file is over here. Let me really quickly open it for you, and you can clearly see all the data. The complete data is with me in my local machine. And here's the crazy part, okay, that if I now refresh it over here, okay, if I just refresh it, you'll be able to clearly see that yeah, all the data is being corrupted, the data is being compromised, and yeah, we have finally hacked into the server. And if I even go to the patients over here in the database, you'll be able to see clearly that okay, all the data is being corrupted. Alright folks, so this is it. The Vercel breach incident happened because of a third-party tool, but in our case it was a vulnerable line of code in our code base. The entry point could always be different in different cases, but the lesson is always the same. Security should not be something that you will add up later. It should be your first priority and should be built from the start. So if you find this video helpful, so do hit that like, subscribe and the bell button. And most importantly, please do comment whatever your thoughts are and suggest any changes or improvements that I could do in my future videos. And also you can suggest any topic in which I should make a future video. The full source code and all the useful links are in the description. So just check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep